What up, people? What's good? Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, everybody?
Straight
Salute to the tribe. We're hip hop and comics,
Straight
comics and hip hop. We're a niche channel. Reserved for the best. It's super dope. I do sell comics.
Straight
Check
up,
me out on
straight up.
Instagram at @6_element_comics.
I heard that. It was the
Yeah,
first-
because comic books are the sixth element of hip hop.
That's what I heard.
What's good, everybody? Sixth element of hip hop. Reno Noir. I'm your host. My co-host Stu Dog
Yo,
over here.
can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. No, I can see you. It's just mad
Can you
pixelated.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You
can't hear me?
Think,
You hear me?
I think it might be my
Technical.
network. Let me see.
Y'all, we got technical issues, but check it, man. It's the DC Power Hour. Y'all already know
Yeah, it's
every
my network. Hang on,
Saturday.
I'm on the wrong channel. Hang on.
Let me mute his mic while he's doing. All right, so every Saturday, guys, y'all already know 7 p.m. we do the DC
Yeah, I'm on the wrong
Power
channel.
Hour.
Let me see. It might.
We talk about DC. We talk about DC comics, DC films, DC, shows, anything DC related. Is usually the topic of discussion. But today we got some a lot of stuff to cover, and I want to cover it all. And I never get to cover everything. Like this time, I'm determined. We are going to get through everything tonight because there's just always so much great stuff, man. And y'all never hear the half of it. I promise you don't. So gonna try to make a commitment this episode to get through it all, regardless of how organic or not organic it may be. But Stu figure out his network issues. But we got the Blue Beetle coming, guys. So the Blue Beetle movie is about to drop. Blue Beetle's a great character. Highly underrated, definitely slept on. And we're gonna deep dive into the Blue Beetle. Also, I want to chop up the 50 Cent and Jay-Z beef. So we're going to deep dive on that because a lot of people forgot about that and exactly how it started and how it began and what it was all about. And we're going to get into that, as well as, man, there's so much Star Wars stuff we got to talk about Wednesday, guys. But we got a lot of DC action tonight. Let me get Stu back on here. I'm trying to help him get back on, y'all. But you guys have seen the trailer, the Blue Beetle trailer. It's phenomenal. And I can't wait to see. It looks great. I mean, if the trailer is to be believed, right? Because we know how that goes. It looks like a good movie. Looks like it's going to be good. I'm excited about it. One of the first, Latino characters ever, really, that's been a superhero that's really been prominent in DC or Marvel or anything like that. Back in the day. And it's kind of going to break ground again because I think it's going to be definitely one of, if not the first, Latino superhero film, definitely out of DC. So that is a good milestone right there. Just hit the button, dog. Oh man. Oh, we got a lot to talk about though. We do have some photos to show y'all too, because Todd McFarlane has dropped the illest new toy, or I should say collectible, right? Action figure with the Flash movie, the Flash movie with Michael Keaton and the Batwing and the Batmobile and all that 89 Batman goodness. McFarlane is definitely coming clean with the dopeness. He's got he's created the amazing Batwing gold label exclusive vehicle figure, and coaxing Wayne out of retirement for one last urgent mission that, as usual, does not go to his plan. The Batwing is brought to, along for the ride, and Michael Keaton, reprising his role as Batman for the first time since he last wore the cowl in Tim Burton's Batman Returns in '92. And because of this, the new Batwing is heavily inspired by the one first seen in Keaton's first Batman outing in 1989, but a little more modern. And there's even a little Batsy figure in the cockpit, and he's probably trying to stop Barry Allen from messing with the timeline even more than he already has. And fucking shit up Ezra. But no, it's incredibly detailed. I think we've got some photographs for y'all. Check out the box art though. So the box is really cool. And I'm thinking, dude, at
box. Oh.
Yeah, the box is sweet. Check it out. And you've got the back. There's the side and the top. So the box art's cool. It is. It's a gold label. So you know it's probably going to be a decent price point, maybe around $60, just like the Batmobile was. I mean, look at that. That's glorious. And it's, like I said, it's big enough to fit a 7-inch Batman figure in the cockpit. You know, that's a 7-inch, you know, just like all the other DC multiverse Batman. And that cool logo there, that Bat logo there is the stand. So that's dope as fuck looking. And you can even put it on the wall, right, Stu, and have that shit flying.
Yes. That's what that middle piece is for. That in the middle, that square. And you pop that out and you can put screws in there and then cover it back up and you can hang it on the wall vertically.
Yes, sir.
That's just, so you can have it horizontally. Yeah, you can put it on the shelf horizontally or you can vertically, which is amazing, man. That's I'm blown away by the thing.
Really, man. Really, really, really excited about it. Can't wait to get one in my hands because I will be doing that. But yeah, it's designed to fit up to, you know, the 7-inch DC multiverse figures. It's got the Batwing features the retractable landing gear underneath, the opening, closing cockpit, the boosters, and also, you know, you get one of the little action or the cards, the art card with the figure photography on the front and the character biography on the back. And, you know, it goes with, like I said, you can collect all the different Batmobiles and Bat cycles and cool stuff. The action figures are sold separately, of course. Heads are also sold separately. You have to buy another figure if you want a different head, but that's just the way McFarlane does shit.
That's how you get down, bro. You just gotta get a hold of the figure. I guess he feel that's the best way to do it, but just give me another head. Man. You can charge me extra $5 if you want. I don't care, but just give me another head. Instead of figures being 20,
I'm
25, we go with that.
I know, man, and I'm just really mad about Thomas Wayne, bro. I really am, because Thomas Wayne was a dope figure, and it had the you know, from the Flash version with the cool mask, and he had the red eyes, and he just looked badass. And then they come out with the unmasked Thomas Wayne figure, which is the same Batman, it's the same exact figure, but now he just doesn't have the mask on. He's just got the, you know, gray hair, corny looking dude. And it's like, why would somebody even want that? But it's cool. If you want that, cool. But if Marvel would have made that little head would have just came in the box instead of making you buy a whole separate figure just to get the different head. And now you can't find the one with the cowl on anymore, of course, right? All you can find is the one without the mask that nobody wants. So that still has me sour. I'm still a little pissed about that. Yeah. But the Flash,
I don't understand why I even made that. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I don't know why it does that way.
It would, like you said, it would have been more sensible just to make another head and just put it.
That's what Marvel does. Yeah, that's what Marvel does.
Right. So let's say you made $1 million with the mask, and then you made $1 million without the mask. You could have just made $2 million and just threw an extra head in there.
You know.
And sold all of them. Like it just.
And sold all of them.
Nobody's gonna buy the other one. Like that makes more sense.
It really does. I mean, I could see, you know, that's sort of the oh, he's trying to make more money, but you just basically broke down exactly how you make more money doing it the other way. So hey man, whatever. But when we were kids, we had, you know, the VCRs, the wood paneled CRT TV from the electronics store down the street. It had a dodgy remote control that only worked half the time, and the picture quality was, you know, whatever the total opposite of 8K is. And the first time I ever saw a movie when I was a little kid was on that curved glass box TV. But what I remember most about that tube TV is that it was the first screen on which I saw Michael Keaton Batman. And of course, over the course of my life, I've tried at various points to figure out just what it is about that sculpted black rubber cowl of Keaton's that resonated so deeply with all of us. And I mean, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing that Bat logo on everybody's hat and T-shirt. I mean, it was just mania in '89 and '90, and it felt elemental in some way, and like it had existed way before Tim Burton made the movie. And its image sort of exists as a fundamental layer of developmental sediment in my mind. And there were motor skills, then language, then Keaton's Batman. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my life. Keaton's Batman is the superhero movie. It's the original blockbuster. Like when I think of summer film blockbusters, summer movie, like Batman is what started it, man. And now 30 years later, this character has had a super profound effect on everybody, and a big impact on fans. And they're dredging him up, to help sell this shit movie with Ezra Miller and with the Flash and Michael Keaton. You know what I'm saying? He walked away from Batman after the 1992 Batman Returns movie, leaving behind two perfect movies done well. Everybody knows those are the unfallible Batman films, and then Schumacher fucked it all up, and now that legacy is under threat, man. And I'm kind of upset, Stu. I'm a little worried. Well, because I'm scared, man, because it's first of all, the shit I seen in the trailer, Keaton, the way he looks, the way he's doing, the way and it's not his fault. I don't know, man, but it's only out of my love for the movies, for Keaton's Batman, for the, and the potential for this nostalgia play to basically sour the whole thing. And even though the Flash isn't going to be out for months, the test screenings are, seeming that it's looking like a good movie, and people are saying that it looks good and everybody likes it, and the DC studios is happy, and James Gunn said the Flash is one of the best superhero movies he's ever seen, and he didn't even make it. So that's high praise, but I'm about to tell you why the whole thing might be a terrible idea. In all honesty, there's a part of me that is excited to hear my childhood hero is returning, but there's also something that just isn't sitting right with me about it. And in order to understand why bringing back Keaton for the Flash is a little worrying, you have to start at the beginning of the Beetlejuice star's run as Batman, right? So bear with me just a second while we sort of delve into the genesis of Batman. By now, I think most of the story of how, after years of Batman struggling to shake the campy, Adam West 60s TV show, Tim Burton's Batman successfully returned the character to his roots as a mysterious, dark, lone vigilante in the shadows. You know what I'm saying? And that was something that we lost and hadn't seen in Batman. Batman was just the campy, blue and gray. Oh, Robin, holy whatever Batman. And it was just goofy. And, but it was great and everything. But it's a well-known fact that Burton was inspired by the artists and writers of the comics like Frank Miller, whose seminal graphic novel, The Dark Knight Returns, had similarly revitalized Batman for comic book readers in 1986, because the same thing was happening in comics based on, the show and whatnot. But the director in Burton, he just wasn't seeking inspiration from outside sources. With the box office smash that was 1989's Batman, he brought to life a very unique, a very singular vision on Batman, crafted with the help of the cast, who was phenomenal, and the crew, who could not have been more in sync. And, you had Prince on the soundtrack. It was just fucking everything was perfect, you know. And you know, like the planets aligned and lightning was caught in a bottle, and basically, you know, and that includes casting Michael Keaton, who was a comedian at the time, who was not liked by the studio. It made no sense. Nobody wanted this guy as Batman. And now I couldn't see him as I could not see Batman played by anyone else. Like that is Batman. And it's crazy because Batman caused the now infamous uproar among fans, you know, who somewhat understandably questioned whether the night of, you know, the star of Night Shift, you know, the Mr. Mom, that's who Keaton was, you know, could project the preeminent power of the iconic, you know, a figure like Batman. And you know, the controversy had Tim Burton fighting the studio for Keaton, and they had worked together on Beetlejuice, right? That was a Tim Burton movie also with Michael Keaton, and that was a huge success, and that was a great movie. But you know, that still kind of seemed like the filmmaker was just sticking up for his buddy who he had just made the movie with, and they didn't, you know, they didn't think that it was for the right reasons that he wanted Keaton, and they were just like, they didn't get it. So, you know, but what outraged fans at the time, remember, this is before this was a classic. This was you know, before it was a classic, people were like worried about it. And you know, before, you know, fans didn't really realize that Keaton had an angle on who Bruce Wayne was and exactly how to play him. And nobody could have imagined, you know, how he would end up doing it. And you know, as he told the In the Envelope podcast, he said I always knew from the get-go it was Bruce Wayne that was the secret. It was never Batman, it's about Bruce Wayne. Who's that guy? What kind of person does that? Right? What kind of man does that and is not, you know, a lunatic criminal, right? So that is what made the character so iconic, because instead of trying to play Batman, he learned how to play Bruce. And I think that gave it the depth and richness that Adam West, you know, never had. But and forgive me guys for rambling, but I really want to like break this down for y'all, because it wasn't just, you know, that Keaton knew how to play Bruce Wayne, you know, Batman. It was that his director saw things the same way. And in the book Batman the Complete History, Keaton, you know, explains how he went into a meeting with the director thinking, you know, I have my interpretation of what this movie is, and I have an idea for what it could do, but I can't imagine that anyone would share that. But they did, he said. And he said, as I was talking to Tim, he just kept nodding, and then I saw his face actually getting more excited, and I knew that he and I were headed down the right road. And meanwhile, the writer, because that's Tim Burton didn't write the movie, he just directed it. The writer, and a lot of people give Tim Burton all the credit, and he doesn't deserve it all. Sam Hamm worked a lot closely with Burton to craft the script, right? That truly represented their take, their darker take on Batman. And then obviously Jack Nicholson comes through, bro, agrees to play a truly scary version of the Joker. Not a funny, not a goofy version, but a real sadistic gangster, psychopathic killer version. And, you know, Tim Burton found himself with another artistic homeboy, you know what I'm saying, comrade. And as he explained in an interview in 1989, he said the thing with Jack is that he won't do a movie unless he feels like everybody's in sync and making the same thing. So before we ever walked on the set, I knew what he was going to do, you know. And with the actors, the director, and the writers all aligned, this movie Batman was just a fucking gem, right? It was a rare, like I said, man, it's like lightning in a bottle. So fast forward to what I'm talking about with the Flash. There's still this one piece of the puzzle left before Tim Burton could bring his Batman universe out. And I might skip on that later, but by now, right, it should be obvious that the Batman was a unique movie in the sense that so many of the creatives involved were on the same page. Everybody was doing the same thing. They had the same view. It was, one team, right? And even if Tim Burton, found making Batman completely torturous, which is what he said, that was crucial to making it such a memorable and influential film. Like whatever it was, it worked. So what does any of that have to do with the Flash? By bringing Keaton into this upcoming film, right? You have the director Andy Muschietti and the powers that be at Warner Brothers have tapped into a legacy that might not be fully prepared, or worse, aren't concerned about continuing it. They know that this is right. This is not something that they want to build off of. They know it's a one and done. And that wasn't the case with Batman. And this isn't to say that The Flash is going to be a bad movie in any way. It might be great. I'm not projecting that The Flash's movie is going to suck per se. But it's simply to say that a project designed around another character, which features Ben Affleck's Batman, 2 versions of the Flash, introduces a new Supergirl, and involves the return of villains from Man of Steel, can't possibly do Keaton's Batman the justice that he deserves. And is he taking the Thomas Wayne role? Is he just some campy? Is it going to be real cheesy? That's what I'm worried about, Stu, is that it's going to end up looking corny, cheesy. It's going to seem off. It's going to seem like, the Spider-Man thing. But more importantly, it can't do justice to Tim Burton's singular artistic vision. So it's not going to be the same Batman. You know what I mean? It's not going to make me feel like Tim Burton's Batman. It's going to be Michael Keaton, however old he is now, because he looks different. Let's keep it a buck. He looks a little different in the suit. And this costume, right? And that's it. Nothing else about it is going to be the Batman. So I don't know, man. Like when he says I'm Batman in the trailer, I just didn't really believe him. And maybe that's just me. But if anybody agrees with me, I don't know. But I don't know. I just
well,
didn't really.
We know Michael Keaton 71, so
71 years old.
71, yes, sir, 71.
Yeah. Right. So that's all. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's gonna suck, guys. I'm just saying I'm a little concerned, and I wanted to fully explain what I mean by that.
Right. Well, we know that the movie, like it just doesn't have anything to do with the way they're presenting it. With the flashpoint they're giving us is not like the traditional one we got out of the comic. That was really really good.
Yeah.
I
Sadly.
think I think they're saving Reverse Flash for another movie. We do know that this movie takes place because DC has what they call what does it call it? It's the way DC puts their timelines. So basically, this exists with the Flashpoint that we got in the comics, and with with what this is now. So when he ran back, he did what he said, but it brought him back to a different timeline. And I forget the way DC they call it something time ripple or something crazy. But um, what we got is a Superman didn't either get to Earth yet, which I don't think. By the way they showed it in the trailer, I don't think he came to Earth yet. I think Kara L came instead. Because you got to remember when they launched him from Krypton, she was supposed to be launched as well from their colony and wherever it was at in the neighboring system. So when Krypton blew up, that planet was thrown out of orbit, and it also experienced a catastrophic event that killed all life on it as well. So her rocket was thrown off course, and it just took longer to get to Earth. And that's the original continuity for Superman is that he got there first, she came second. But in some iterations of the comic, they flip it, and that's what they're doing in this movie. They're flipping it. So she came first, he's gonna come later, and I guess that's when we get Superman Legacy and things of that nature.
I mean, that's the goal. Yeah.
Right. So I think a lot of people that are fans like you and me, when we go watch it, it's going to be different. So we have to expect something different than what they initially going to give us as far as Flashpoint is concerned.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be a lot different. It's going to be a lot different. And we've already seen how many different factors had to fall in place in order for the Tim Burton movie to create an effective, as film as he did back in '89. But yeah, man, sadly, bro, like what we're getting with The Flash is what we've gotten with other modern attempts at leveraging the popularity of classic blockbusters. I mean, you know what I mean? They keep doing these reboots and trying to bring back this, and it's like we want it, but man, we want it done right. Like, you don't just cheaply give it to us, like depending only on the fact that of what it is, just using that. Like, really do it right and bring it back. Don't just do it campily. Don't do it sillily, if that's a word. But that is to say, uncanny confections of beloved characters, you know what I'm saying, close enough to the original to look convincing, but not close enough to have any of the cultural impact and artistic, depth or meaning that it had. And how many CGI 1980s Arnold Schwarzeneggers is it going to take to convince us that all this digital necromancy is not, is folly? It's, I think I know we'll at least be spared a CGI Michael Keaton. I don't think they're going to de-age him. Of course, they're doing the time travel thing. Is he gonna be a 71-year-old Bruce Wayne? Is he gonna be like an old, because Thomas Wayne is an older Batman, so that's cool if that's the case, and I don't want to see him de-aged or CGI'd, returning in the flesh, but you saw the trailer, and there's a point at which an obvious CG version of his Batman dives into some sort of industrial pit to take out a group of thugs, and there's something genuinely jarring about seeing the hero that we all know for his awkward bat turn and stilted gestures move to be, unnatural slickness of the modern digital, double. It just doesn't, but even if there were no CGI Keaton in the Flash, it wouldn't matter. And I'm not saying like that's a deal breaker, but the question with all these ungodly, uncanny resurrections of beloved characters from bygone eras is, it's what what do they mean removed from the original context? You know what I mean? Like, you take Keaton's Batman out of the Tim Burton world, it doesn't, it's not, what is it? It doesn't really, it's the whole world that makes it dope, in terms of context. And Michael Keaton's Batman was somewhat defined by Anton Furst and Bo Welch's production design on Batman and Batman Returns. Like I said, there's so many more people that need props besides just Tim Burton on these movies. But anyways, it's just when you have something that's this important to people, people are real passionate about it, then you got to get shit right, man. But it is what it is. I do want to talk about the Blue Beetle, though. I mean, that's what's really going on. We got the Blue Beetle movie coming, and
the trailer is dirt.
Yeah, the trailer was cool. I liked it. Did you like it? I think it looks good.
That was great, man. We had a lot going on this weekend, man. We had that. They did a lot with Star Wars this weekend. We had a lot going on, man.
So, I saw Mario in the theater.
How was Mario, man? How many couches was you given? How many couches?
5 couches, B.
That's what I'm talking about.
5 couches. Matter of fact, I don't even give it a couch because you got to go to the theater to see this.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
This is what we talking about. 5 couches right there.
If it get 5 couches, I'm definitely going to the theater.
No, the thing with it was like the critics. So the critics are. Some of them are, the asshole ones. They're like, oh, there's no message behind it. It doesn't have like a deep story and all of this. And it's like, bro, Mario, the game, does not have a deep story. The games are not rich with lore. It's Bowser kidnaps Peach and Mario's saving her. That's it. It's the same one every game. There's no deep story behind it. It's not Zelda. It's not Link. There's no resurrection and the timeline and all of this. It's not like that. Mario's very simple. And what we hated about the Bob Hoskins movie was it was nothing like the games. This movie is just like the games. It nods to all the Mario games. The Donkey Kong gang is in there. Mario Kart is all in there, all through it. Shit from Mario Kart's in there. So everything that you love from Mario Brothers movies, video games, even from Donkey Kong, the original Donkey Kong, to Donkey Kong Country, and all the characters in that universe, they're in there. It's just dope, man. So don't go into it.
I heard they even explained where Mario Karts come from.
Yeah, they break everything down. They got them building the carts and all of that. It's cool, man.
Yeah, because the original, the one they came out with back in the day, the live action, it sucked. It was trash, and people was disappointed. Like, people was highly disappointed at that, and they should have just did what they did now. Just made either CG or a really nice cartoon. It would have been good.
Yeah,
I don't know why everybody now needs a whole explanation for everything, and why everything is the way it is.
And everything don't have to have a big message.
Use your damn imagination. That's all I can say, Reno. Use your damn imagination. How about let's try that today? Let's try using our imagination, okay? Because that's what makes things fun. I mean, I guess Sesame Street's the only one still imagining nowadays, because now we get up, everything's got to be explained in a scientific matter that makes sense. No, it doesn't. It just
no, it don't.
The reason why Batman carried all this stuff on his utility belt, why? Go use our imagination. You know what I mean?
Right. And everything was on there.
Everything. There's nothing he didn't have. It's shark repellent.
Big ass can of shark repellent came up out of there. And
yeah, man. So
nobody cared. Nobody said nothing about it. Yeah, but Mario the movie, again, like I said, man, compared to the original movie, it's the exact opposite. It's just like the game. It's basically the game in a movie. Like I said, Mario, the world of Mario doesn't have deep lore or a big story or any of that. They're brothers, they're plumbers, and they fight Bowser and they eat mushrooms, and that's it. It's simple. And the movie definitely captures all of it, portrays it in a good way. I think a lot of people were worried about Chris Pratt doing the voice. Did fine. The voice was fine. It was not a problem. Not a problem at all. The voice was not a problem. So Jack Black killed it. That he was hilarious as Bowser. Some people thought that Peach was a little bit of not a Mary Sue, but like a I don't know, but like she's teaching him how to do this and that in the mushroom. No, she's been living in the Mushroom Kingdom for years. Like, Mario just got there. Of course, she's showing him how to, do shit there. I mean, it makes sense. It all tracks. It's just, people are gonna look for shit to complain about. That's with anything. They're gonna make up shit. They're gonna find shit. They're gonna, make shit problems that isn't really a problem and all of that. Just to have something to talk about and seem witty. But all in all, it's fun. It was fun. That's it, and that's all it had to be.
Oh, I want to see that movie so badly in theaters.
I do want to see it too.
You'll love it. You love it. Yeah, it's totally worth it. Me and my son just saw it last night. It was great.
Oh, it's a no-brainer for me. I'm definitely going to see it. I just haven't had a chance.
I'm gonna try and see it. If not this weekend, then definitely this week, because it looks good. So
yeah, it was just what I would expect. Yep, in the best way. But yeah, we wanted to talk about Blue Beetle. What did Slay say about Blue Beetle? He said, Reno, he said Beetlejuice would have failed if we had never got Batman.
That's true. That's a true statement. Oof. When Tim Burton got hired to do Batman, he made Beetlejuice. They didn't want to greenlighted the project, but they didn't want to do anything with the film because Tim Burton was up and coming. He was new. And they said at Warner Brothers, they said if he can pull this off, if this movie's good, Beetlejuice, because Beetlejuice was another just one of those movies that was out there. It was like, then yeah, he can do Batman. And I don't understand how that works because they greenlit it, gave it to him, but the success of Beetlejuice depended on whether that movie saw the light of day or not. And thank Tim Burton for knocking Beetlejuice out the park, because had he not, we would not have gotten Batman. They would have just put it on ice because they had already put it on ice a few years before that. I mean, it was really supposed to come out in the early '80s, and they just couldn't find nobody to direct it. The story changed a couple times. It changed directors a few times.
You're saying we wouldn't have got Batman if Beetlejuice wasn't a success?
Correct.
If Beetlejuice, yeah, I seen. Yeah, that's a true story. If Beetlejuice would have failed,
what did he say?
Batman '89 would.
Yeah, that's what Slade said.
Beetlejuice would have failed if we never got Batman.
Yeah, if Beetlejuice would have failed, we would have never gotten Batman. That's what he said.
Yeah, that's true. That's a true story.
Yeah,
because when Warner Brothers greenlit it, they wanted to give it. They didn't know who to give it to, and I forget who they gave it to first. Something happened, and then Tim Burton was this up and coming kid. He's making movies. He's making a little bit of waves out there, Hollywood. And they gave him Beetlejuice, but the Green Batman was already green lit, and they already was going to give it. Then they said, "Look, if he knocks this Beetlejuice out the park, then we'll go forward with Batman." Yep. He knocked Beetlejuice out the park, and then he got his writers together. They came up with that story, and then he knocked Batman out the park, and they were like, "Wow!" Like, and that just that gave them the confidence to do more movies, because once he did it, and he was like, "Yo, like this is." And they said that he was real meticulous about it. Like he wanted it to be.
And he said they told him that
like they comic.
And he said they tried to talk him out of doing the Batman after the second Batman, after Batman Returns. He was in the studio and they were like, he said they told me, they said, "You don't really want to do this movie, do you? You're kind of tired of it, aren't you?" And he was like, "What?" He was like, "I came in with like a plan and a script and a whole thing, and we were getting ready to talk about it." And they were like, "Yeah, you're tired of this, we understand. You probably just don't want to do it no more." And he was like, "The fuck?" So they totally pushed him out, and Schumacher. And then, so based on that, he was like, "You know what?" He was like, He said, "I don't even want to do it. So I'm not even gonna do it no more." And Keaton said, "If he's not doing it, I'm not doing it." So that's why you had Val Kilmer and George Clooney and all them dudes.
Which Val Kilmer, they said, I don't know. They said he was a real a-hole on the set.
You gonna dig it, bro?
Not Val Kilmer.
When they got done with that movie, they was telling Val Kilmer, "You will never work in this city again." Like that was the attitude they had towards him at the end of that Batman movie. And then we got George Clooney, and George Clooney deeply apologized for messing up Batman because he was a horrible Batman. He just was. There's no way around it.
It was just piss poor casting and
just everything. A bad movie altogether. Yeah,
we didn't need that girl. You could have kept Uma Thurman. You could have kept that. That didn't make
the whole movie.
Freeze. We could have got Bane. Should have been Bane and Freeze and Batman and Robin. That's pretty much what it should have been.
I would have been okay with that, honestly. Yeah,
that would have been sweet.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was just bad, bro. And Clooney apologized. He came out publicly and said, "Look, I'm sorry." And he said, "I will never ever." He said, "I'll never ever do it again. I don't care what they ask." He said, "I apologize deeply to everybody," because he realized how much we love Batman. Like he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Oh yeah. He was like, "My bad."
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it was. I mean, listen, man. This Flash movie, and they still have to recast because they want to do another Flash movie. So.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully, the word on the street is that Gus is in.
Oh God.
And Ezra is out. That's the word on the street.
Well, Ezra's out after this. Yeah, Flash. That's
right.
That's
he's definitely out. I can't wait to see it. I don't know why they just didn't. With all the refilming and all the reshoots they did, I don't understand why they just didn't put Gus in it to begin with.
Right. Just slide him in there at this point. Who cares? Like he's been the definitive Flash for like almost a decade now. So whatever. Who cares?
Right.
Sada would have been a lot more happier and a lot more enthusiastic.
I would have been like I don't know about happier because like I don't know. We could have gotten someone new, but at the same time, it's such a hot mess. I don't even care anymore. So do whatever you want.
Oh, speaking of Batman, that's what I forgot. When they did Batman, they actually had everything planned. And I remember we talked about this before. They had a I think like a 6-year plan for Batman. They knew Jim Carrey was going to play the Riddler. They knew Tommy Lee Jones was going to be Two-Face. They knew, I think they wanted Eddie Murphy at some point to play Robin or something like that. And
yes, I feel like who was it that was supposed to play Robin? Yeah, I think it was
Marlon Wayans. Marlon Wayans. It was
Marlon Wayans. Yes.
Marlon Wayans. Yeah,
he still gets like royalties from it, right?
Sure. Yeah. They actually had a plan for that. They actually, like, Tim Burton came with this whole sort of like what James Gunn is doing now. He had this whole thing planned out with the actors picked out and everything. The only thing that kind of messed it up was, like Reno said, they talked him out of doing the third movie. The actors still got casted, but the direction was just Joe Shoemaker came in and put nipples on a bat suit, and just took it in just like a more of a corny 70s style, whereas in Tim Burton was more dark and brooding.
He was trying to make it
like
a comic book. He was trying to make it like a comic book and trying to make it like the TV show from the 60s and the comics and the cartoons but it was
mostly the cartoons, Reno, because the comics were always dark. The comics were always dark, but mostly the cartoons and the TV shows.
Well, and during the 50s, the comics got real campy. During the when the comics code, so even the Joker was campy. Like during the 50s, it got real corny. But it's definitely more the cartoons and the TV show for sure. We got speaking of Batman, they got a new origin, I guess, for the Joker.
Oh, great.
That looks like his original origin.
Well, you got what's his name there? Well, this is a new comic called Gotham City Year One. It's a comic book coming out called Gotham City Year One. And the Joker's origins have ties to Batman, of course, but not in the way you would think. This one, they're doing something with the whole Wayne family, ultimately led to the creation of the Joker. And it's Tom King doing this. Gotham City Year One, number 6 is Gotham City is sort of imploding after the death of Helen Wayne, the daughter of Bruce's grandparents, Richard and Constance. So it's like this whole family tree. Sam Bradley makes his way to the Wayne Manor, where he reveals that Richard was actually the Batman behind Helen's kidnapping. After an intense confrontation between Slam and Richard, Constance shoots her husband and kills him. And despite the tragedy and the violence caused by Helen's death, Constance plans to rebuild and improve the city. And she even takes the lead on the construction of the Wayne Enterprises' latest development, the Wayne Chemical Processing. And so it's like more like it's reading more like a novel or something. You know what I'm saying? Like a serious book and shit. But the whole Axis Chemicals deal is the thing with the Joker. So despite being the most well-known member of Batman's Rogues Gallery, there's definitely a little of Joker's backstory that is known by fans. And the villain has admitted that he remembers very little about his past, preferring it to be multiple choice. But some elements are known about the person that he used to be. Not his name or none of that, but there's different versions. But at one point in his life, he was a masked criminal known as Red Hood. And that's the dude in the picture right there. And at some point, right, he took the dip in the bath of the toxic material at Ace Chemicals, which we saw Jack Nicholson do in the movie. And that turned him into the mutated him and made him a psychopath and all of that. But I guess the tragedy behind the origin of the Ace Chemicals creation is that Constance Wayne thought that she could do genuine good after taking control of Wayne Enterprises. And so Constance knew the city would break after Helen's death, and the poor communities, would suffer the most. And so Constance's attempt to save the soul of Gotham may have come from a good place, but all it did was make Gotham worse, basically. And so the chemical plant only helped to line, to line the pockets of the rich and the elite, and it'll basically allow crime to just fester in the city. And not to mention that it ushered in the Joker, which is the worst villain that Gotham has ever really had to deal with. And in a way, Batman and Joker's origins are rooted in the Wayne family's dark history. not only did Constance's actions help turn Gotham into the same crime-infested city that would turn Bruce into Batman, but she had a direct hand in helping create a company that would, ultimately create the Joker. You know what I'm saying? And then had Richard not kidnapped Helen, or had Constance rethought the idea of the chemical factory, Gotham would have turned out better and avoided having Batman or the Joker altogether. But the Dark Knight and the Clown Prince of Crimes, fates were sealed the day that Helen Wayne went missing. And so this is a deep ass story that you guys can jump into. It's only on number 6. It's called Gotham City Year One. It's dope as fuck. It's real deep. It's on sale now. You can get it, probably at your local comic shop. But the art is dope too. I mean, this is straight from the comic right there.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, definitely. It is good.
Yeah, speaking of Batman too, I read earlier this week that Batman number 900 will include what's his name? Neil Adams, a variant cover. Neil Adams variant cover.
Nice.
Which, if we're lucky, we can get.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yes, we will. We will see.
And James Gunn has 25 projects in the works.
So, yeah, that's a little bit.
Assad is very excited.
I'm so excited. I'm just over the moon.
In development.
They're all gonna be gems.
In development. Yeah.
25 gems.
And Sada is
I'm
excited.
Over the moon, guys. I can't wait.
I mean,
Sada is excited. Well, the Waller series, the Waller comic series is already out.
Right.
And the Superman one is already out.
Good stuff.
Dawn of DC, so that's out.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. And then James Gunn is already dissing Marvel, or not dissing, but he's already saying that it's hard for Marvel to come out with anything better after Endgame. Like he's saying that was like they shot their load.
Yeah.
I was on his Twitter feed this week, and he was saying that that's a wrap for them.
He also said that he's ultimately talking about a Marvel and DC crossover film might actually happen. He says that it won't be here for a long time, but they're working on he said Avengers Endgame is as big as a comic book movie can get, right? Well, as it turns out, he already has a crossover idea in mind, and he's on Twitter with it. But as he gears up this Guardians of the Galaxy 3 release, he did an interview with Empire, and to talk about different things and crossovers between Marvel and DC. And what he said about the DC Marvel mashup, he said, "I'm certain that's more likely now that I'm in charge at DC. Who knows? That's many years away, though. I think we have to establish what we're doing at DC first." And I'm glad to hear him say that. He said, "I would be lying to say that we haven't discussed it, but all discussions have been very, very light and fun." But that's very promising. So it's definitely not something that is off the table or something that just could never happen, which is what I think a lot of people would assume. So that's cool. Providing, like he says, they get DC right and establish it first, and Marvel, finds their footing again that they've definitely lost. So hopefully we can get to a point where I would actually be excited about a DC Marvel mashup. That could be cool.
I'm excited about the stuff. I'm excited about the DC stuff upcoming now. I'm going
definitely
to see Flash, even though Sada isn't.
Yeah,
correct. But Blue Beetle looks great.
Blue Beetle looks phenomenal.
Looks really fun.
We'll see that.
Yeah,
that's what August,
fun.
right?
Looks fun.
Yeah, that's August. I'm very surprised we got footage this early on.
Yeah,
I don't know how they're going to keep up the momentum from now till August, because that's a long way. So
right. It is.
I think they figure. I think they figure this Flash movie has good momentum. It'll carry it because we don't have no more DC movies in
I
after
think these
Flash,
are the
right? Until
last
Blue
two.
Beetle.
Yeah, I
Until
think
Blue
these are the
Beetle, right?
last two, Flash and Blue Beetle.
Yeah, Warner Discovery is releasing what's left of the DCU lineup. As Gunn is preparing the DCU slate.
Oh, you know what? Aquaman. We're
Starting
supposed
with
to get
Superman
Aquaman.
Legacy.
What's gonna happen? Yeah, what's gonna
Aquaman.
happen with Aquaman?
We got Guardians.
Because they said Aquaman is in a state of flux.
Oh yeah, they were saying that is just not it at all. Like all the reports are saying it's just bad.
They shouldn't even bother.
Yeah, I don't know.
They honestly shouldn't put it. I mean, I know people are, you got to put it, but honestly, like I would have rather seen the Batwoman movie.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't even need a sequel. Like, I don't know. With the thing resetting, no one's that pressed for a sequel, I feel like. So
that's what I mean. Like if they were still doing Cavill movies and shit, like I'm down with all, like I was cool with all of that. Right. I was cool with the Snyderverse, with the way Snyder was doing it. And like if they would have gotten their shit together and did that right, I was cool. And then I would be cool with more Aquaman. But like you said, knowing it's not going anywhere, it's just kind of like I don't care. So why, I don't know why they're gonna put, all the money behind it and put it out anyway. But I guess like the Flash, they've got money invested that they don't want to just lose. So hopefully they can turn a profit with it.
Oof. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
I hope that for Blue Beetle because it really looks just great. His suit is just, I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, it does. Suit looks dope as hell. And yeah, so we're gonna cover this movie. So basically, it's an upcoming superhero movie that's coming out on DC Comics, DCU, and the character, this version of Blue Beetle is Jamie Reyes. It's produced by DC Studios and the Safran Company, so the Gunn and all of them guys, James Gunn and Peter Safran, and directed by Angel Manuel Soto from a screenplay by Gareth Dunay Alcoker, and is intended to be the 14th film in the DC Extended Universe, the DCEU. The film stars Xolo Maridueña. Hold on, I want to butcher his name. Maridueña as Jamie Reyes, Blue Beetle, alongside Adriana Barraza and Damian Alcázar, Elpidia Carrillo, Bruna Marquez. Okay, there's a lot of people. George Lopez is in it. Development of a film featuring Reyes began by the end of November in 2018. They started filming this, so it's been
a lot of these movies have just been in development hell or semi-hell. My goodness. So
limbo or whatever, right? Yeah.
Right.
And so Soto was hired to direct the film in February 2021 for the streaming service HBO Max, and Maridueña was cast in that August. And so, the film was changed to have a theatrical release in December. So originally, it was just going to be a straight to streaming HBO Max, kind of, and that's why I expected it to be a CW vibes, CW status, show kind of thing. Wasn't excited about it at all. And then they switched it to a theatrical release, made it more of a feature film, and judging by the trailer, I'm not getting any CW vibes at all. It's looking very legit. And further casting took place early 2022 before filming took place mid-July in the Atlanta metropolitan area. So it was actually filmed in like Decatur in Georgia and Atlanta, El Paso, Texas, and in Puerto Rico. Yeah. So and Blue Beetle is scheduled to be released August 18th. This year. Basically, it does.
The casting for Jaime, it was just perfect. I watched that actor in Cobra Kai, and he really embodies. I feel like the character Jaime, like just like his personality, from what I can see in the trailer. I feel like, It looks good. I'm wondering who the villain's gonna be. I was wondering if it was gonna be the Reach. I don't know. They haven't really hinted at anything like that, which is good. You don't want to spoil too much in the trailer, but I'm very interested in this movie. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the sort of plot after, and I was calling him Jamie Reyes. I guess it's Jaime Reyes. Graduates from college. Yeah, and he returns back to his hometown of Palmera City, and he's chosen to become a symbiotic host to the Scarab, which is an ancient alien biotechnological relic that grants him a exoskeleton armor, you know, kind of Iron Man-esque, turning him into the superhero Blue Beetle. And but it's definitely a very unique situation. Like the superpowers are it's alien, you know, it's an alien whatever artifact. So it's cool. It's definitely different.
It's actually an alien. It's an alien scarab that they use to take over different worlds. So what they do is the scarab comes to your world, finds a host, and then the beetle scarab is so powerful it takes over the world. It's sort of like Omni-Man, like what Omni-Man does, because there's more than one of them.
Yeah.
But his scarab malfunctioned and didn't want to carry out its original programming. So that's how he got it and was able to communicate with it and use it for good instead of taking over the planet. But I just wonder how they're going to spin that tale.
Yeah, I'm trying to see, like, what are they going to do with that? Are they really going to explore that? Because, like, even the voice for the scarab, at least as far as we can tell, is like a human voice, which I wish it wasn't. I kind of wish it was how it was in Young Justice. I feel like it just would have worked better narratively and comedically, but yeah, I'll get used to it. Whatever. It's not like the biggest deal in the world, but yeah.
Right. And there was a Blue Beetle animated show, right? Or was he just? Or he was just in
It was,
he was on Young Justice.
And I know there was a short with Blue Beetle, but it was Ted Cord. It wasn't Jaime. It wasn't
Jaime. It was Ted Cord.
Yeah, it was Ted. Yeah, he was the original.
He's the original. Yeah, he's the original Blue Beetle.
Well, the first Blue Beetle was Dan Garrett, and he originally who gained his superpowers from a special vitamin, which was later changed to the Sacred Scarab. And the original Blue Beetle was featured in not only his own comic, but also a weekly radio serial. So back when they had radio shows. And then the second Blue Beetle, created by Charlton and then later taken over by DC Comics, was the successor to Dan Garrett, known as Ted Cord. So Cord jumped to the DC Comics universe. He was definitely the first DC Blue Beetle, for sure. And but he came during the Crisis on Infinite Earths, right, alongside a number of other Charlton Comics characters. And the second Blue Beetle also starred in his own 24-issue comic. Ted Cord never had any superpowers, but he used science to create various devices to help him fight crime, and he became a member of the Justice League of America and later was killed during the prelude to the DC Comics Infinite Crisis crossover. And the third Blue Beetle is who we're talking about, created by DC Comics, is Jaime Reyes, a teenager who discovers that the original Blue Beetle Scarab morphs into a battle suit, allowing him to fight crime and travel in space. And over the years, Reyes became a member of the Teen Titans and starred in 2 Blue Beetle comic series. In DC Comics 2011, the New 52 reboot, Jaime Reyes was the primary Blue Beetle character, only occasionally referring to the past versions, but with the subsequent continuity revision of DC Rebirth, and the previous versions were then restored and all of that. But yeah, the original Blue Beetle, Dan Garrett, first came out in Fox Comics, in Mystery Men Comics #1, it says, back in 1939. So it's Blue Beetle's an old character from the 40s, but yeah. But the Latino character, the Latino aspect, that didn't come out till that, that was Jaime Reyes.
Yeah, that's a later version.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a kid. He's a kid as well. That's that's a more modern version. That is the modern version of Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, it says Yeah, it said in 1964, Charlton Comics began publishing a new series of Blue Beetle, which substantively revamped the hero. Dan Garrett, first issue, 64. That can't be the first issue. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of shit behind that. And then it said later in 1966, Blue Beetle was reinvented again in a set of backup stories published in Captain Atom in 1966, plotted and drawn by Steve Ditko, who is a goat. You know what I'm saying? Ditko is like co-creator of Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and he definitely contributed a lot to Iron Man, and the design and all of that shit. So and they introduced Ted Cord, which was a student of Dan Garrett's, who took on the role of Blue Beetle. But they didn't have like the scarab with the mech suit. They had like it looked more like the what's the name, the Phantom, the purple.
Yeah. His suit was more like that. Yeah. Definitely.
Like a suit, like an
actual
skin tight, right? Like a skin tight thing.
Yes.
But yeah, when did so Blue Beetle became a member of Justice League upon launch of new series 1987, beginning with Justice League #1, depicted a more comedic tone in the Blue Beetle solo comic. Ted Cord became friends with the teammate Booster Gold. Blue Beetle remained as much as a When did it become Jaime Reyes? So I thought Jaime Reyes was with Booster Gold, so that was Ted Cord too? All right, so 2006 is when DC introduced Blue Beetle teenager Jaime Reyes, whose powers derived from the Scarab, now revealed as so. This is a very new version of the character. Okay, I'm learning too, y'all. Let Stu back in here. What happened to Stu? Stu, your camera's off.
Hang on, working on it. Yeah, he's the newest version.
Hopefully.
They even put him in Batman, the Brave and the Bold. Just to introduce him to everybody, and we loved him in Batman Brave and the Bold.
Yeah. He that was a new, and so I didn't know he was the Jaime Reyes aspect was new, because I was like, oh man, this is like a one of the first Latino characters and all of this. Nah, he's not. This is like maybe the first Latino movie, like with a major Latino superhero leading a movie. That is something, yeah. But I thought he was
the real question, is how much backlash are they going to put out because of this? Because he is Latino. There's going to be some hate.
Well, yeah, but see, those people don't
know, because he's the Latino version of the character, right?
We know that, but it's still gonna be some backlash. Because it's got to be. Because think about it, it's got to be a lot of Latinos in the movie. If he's Latino,
yeah.
His family's got to be Latino.
The whole family, everybody, yeah.
Right. So.
But see, those people don't matter, because most of the people don't even know about Ted Cord. They don't know about the white man who was before Jaime. Most people know Jaime, so they'll be all right.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think there's like a big. I don't think the white Blue Beetle had a big fan base or anything that's gonna be all upset. I don't think that he was. I could be wrong, but Blue Beetle was never a big character. I think Jaime Reyes actually gave him popularity, and
I don't think anyone would want to see a Ted Cord focused Blue Beetle film. Truthfully, I really don't.
You really wouldn't. You really would not. Based on what I've learned about him, because what's cool about Blue Beetle obviously is the scarab and the suit and the whole thing, and Ted Cord didn't even have that, so I'm not really sure what the appeal would have been.
Yeah, but they referenced him in the trailer, which is great. I don't know if he's alive in this universe or he's already dead. But I feel like we don't need to have a film centered around him. I don't see there's like no appeal. So,
but I can't say that, Sada. We do have to remember Ted Cord and Booster Gold, right? That was the Booster Gold Blue Beetle team was Ted Cord, and that's a big comic, right? Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, that team.
Yeah, but I don't know if we're gonna see that, because if we're getting Jaime, then either Ted Cord is retired or he's dead. So I don't know if we're going to see that particular pairing. We might see Jaime as Blue Beetle and Booster Gold team up. Now, people maybe, that might upset some people, which, I can understand that, but it is what it is.
Who cares? It says Ted Cord was made a billionaire industrialist. Yeah, he's a big rich dude. Blue Beetle became a member of the Justice League upon launch of a new series in 1987, beginning Justice League #1, depicted a more comedic tone than in the Blue Beetle solo comic. Ted Cord became best friends with teammate Booster Gold. Blue Beetle remained as a main character on the series as it was retitled Justice League International and then Justice League America. Following the event miniseries 0 Hour, both Blue Beetle and Booster Gold left the series and began starring in the new team title Extreme Justice, which ran for 18 issues. Ted Cord later became the recurring character in Birds of Prey and starred in the 2003-2004 miniseries formerly known as Justice League. The character of Ted Cord was killed off in the one-shot comic Countdown to Infinite Crisis. And that was in 2005. And then boom, 2006 is when DC introduced the teenager Jaime Reyes. What I'm not really clear on was the whole Scarab. I mean, the Mystic Scarab is definitely part of the old Silver Age version of the character. But
yeah, I thought that was a part of Ted Cord's origin as well.
Is that a suit?
So I'm not sure. I feel like it was, but I don't know. I don't know for sure. I'm not the biggest Blue Beetle buff.
Yeah, no. Let me see if it tells me. Let me see. Fit these box. Yeah, no. But the character that we've got now, Jaime Reyes, his 10 strongest powers. He's got the artificial intelligence, which also known as Kaji Da. The Blue Beetle Scarab is a technology from the smart alien DC race, the Reach, that fuses Jaime Reyes' spine and uses its advanced AI system to bond its nervous system to to his or whatever. And then this allows Reyes and the suit to fuse synapses and share thoughts and emotions and communicate, attack plans instantaneously and things like that. And whether Reyes controls the AI or not, the technology keeps him protected through an array of, offensive and defensive functions. For example, when in danger, the suit will automatically shroud Reyes in an impenetrable suit of armor, and the Scarab Mind Link can also telepathically communicate with other Scarabs with or without a host. And Scarab's AI also includes advanced tracking systems that can locate all forms of energy, allowing the Blue Beetle to have full surveillance on his enemies. And then he's got Scarab Sight, which the Scarab Sight is a high-tech superpower that scans every person Reyes encounters and assesses their full genetic history, physical makeup, and current medical condition. The superpower can scan metahumans, track thought patterns, determine sentience, see extra-dimensional threats before they appear to do harm, and other stuff. Covering a 5 square mile radius, Blue Beetle's Scarab Sight can also dispel magic. And once scanning an area, it sends information directly to Reyes, gives him an advantage before enemies attack. Scarab Sight can also detect timeline alterations and warn Reyes of them before temporal shift affects, his ability to fight crime. And Blue Beetle famously used Scarab Sight to defeat Brother Eye and send him back to his dimension. That's just 2 of his powers. So he's got the Blue Beetle armor. Alluded to, the Blue Beetle armor provides immense strength and defensive prowess. It gives Reyes superhuman strength and agility, safeguards him from environmental weather hazards like tornadoes, and allows him to travel through time stream without harm. The armor even has advanced healing properties that allows him quick recovery, so he's got the healing factor. And the armor is also entirely bulletproof and durable enough to withstand atmospheric re-entry. More versatile Yet the Blue Beetle armor is equipped with wings and jet propulsion that allows him to fly at great speeds and hover easily. The wings also double as protective shields if need be, and the armor is so adaptive that Blue Beetle can manifest certain weaponry without activating the entire suit, giving him impervious safeguards no matter who he faces. And weapons, he's got the Blue Beetle armor comes equipped with an ultra-powerful array of high-tech weaponry. The armor can automatically reconfigure itself to empower Blue Beetle with a massive energy cannon, two large foot-long blades that can slice through tree trunks, a sword, a shield, solar energy blasters, laser beams, drones, cryo blasters, and a mighty pincer claw that reinforce the hero's insectile nature. Thanks to the armor's deadly pyrokinetic prowess, the energy blasts fired from Blue Beetle's hands are so powerful that they can emit kryptonite radiation and dispel magic instantly. So he can fight Superman, I guess. Furthermore, dangerous weaponry in the DC universe also entails manipulating sonic shockwaves and sound vibrations, giving Blue Beetle a full range of defensive and offensive-based superpowers when he's all suited up. And he's got nanotechnology, of course, because
he can also decipher alien languages.
Correct.
Right. Yes. Yeah. He's got the nanotech all over. He's got energy absorption manipulation. So I'm guessing something like Bishop, where he can just absorb any energy and then dispel it out as a blast. And the what else? He's got bleed access. So I think they're referring to the bleed of DC. In DC lore, the bleed is a cosmic space that connects the various universes in DC. And thanks to the high-tech Scarab, Blue Beetle is able to enter the bleed at will, allowing tremendous intergalactic freedom to confront his foes regardless of their location. And moreover, Blue Beetle can also manipulate the bleed's unique characteristics, such as instant teleportation, short-term time travel, and the ability to be in two places simultaneously. However, it's important to note that entering the bleed expends massive energy. As such, Blue Beetle can only enter the bleed 3 times in rapid succession before burning out. Even so, having the ability to access the multiversal nexus and nanoverse whenever desired is a major advantage a lot of DC heroes do not have, and would definitely give him an advantage over a lot of characters. So they have really, this dude is dope. Blue Beetle is no joke, bro. I did not know. I thought he was just he's got like a metal suit.
No, he's really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Superpower.
Yeah, he's got still 3 more powers. He's got mechanokinesis. I think they call it mechanokinesis. So also known as cyberkinesis or technopathy. Mechanokinesis refers to the process of mind controlling high-tech products such as computers, robots, and other advanced hardware. So thanks to the Scarab, Blue Beetle has used this power to conceal his identity and whereabouts, by hiding himself in the state-of-the-art 21st century tech. And Blue Beetle has used mechanokinesis to shut cameras and microphones down in the area, thereby reducing his digital footprint and completely shrouding its location. Even when magic was used to expose Blue Beetle's communications, the Scarab neutralized the effort and kept the power intact. So some heroes have basic cloaking devices, but Blue Beetle has the most advanced concealment technology around in DC.
That's true.
Universal translation is what you were talking about. Another immense strength Blue Beetle has demonstrated in DC is universal translation. So thanks to the Scarab's technology and advanced multilingualism, the Beetle acts as a translator who can communicate with nearly every alien race in the entire cosmos, and this gives him a significant leg up on the competition by being able to understand their language and decipher their plans. Blue Beetle was able to use this power to decode the Mother Box's communication and foil the most powerful DC god Darkseid's odious plans before they took effect. And the linguistic power of the Blue Beetle also enables Scarab's vast networking abilities, which allow the hero to hack into any communication system and establish a line of contact. And of course, his number one power is the adaptive WMDs. So, as Blue Beetle, Reyes has mentioned that he has several weapons of mass destruction at his disposal. Although the powers remain hidden due to Reyes' refusal to use the deadly force. I mean, when would a superhero ever use weapons of mass destruction? I don't know. But the WMDs are so powerful that Reyes claims they can destroy Spectre, one of DC's most powerful supervillains. And that is definitely no easy task. Spectre is definitely a god. Furthermore, the WMDs adapt to specific weaknesses of Blue Beetle's enemies and can launch destructive micro-targeted attacks as a result. So basically, the weapon will fire a kryptonite blast at a Kryptonian to match his strength. In the past, the skill had proved powerful enough to destroy a Green Lantern's ring shield, which is crazy. And whether Blue Beetle will finally unleash his mega powerful WMDs in the upcoming movie is yet to be seen. But at least he has the potential to rival the mightiest DC characters when he eventually does. So that is pretty cool.
Well, it's funny you said that about the Green Lanterns because in Young Justice they acknowledged that when the Scarab saw a Green Lantern, it quickly activated that's, and then the power ring was like, even one of the Green Lanterns was like, yo, that's a Scarab, like they was ready to go at it. And it was like, no, not this one. This one is cool. And it was like, relax, not this one. This one is cool. They run into the Scarabs before because I think it's like 4 or 5 of them all together. There's blue, green, red, yellow, and white.
Dope.
And they all just as powerful as Jaime Reyes' Scarab.
Yeah.
But like I said, they've had run-ins with the Green Lanterns, and it just hasn't been good. But I know it takes a few Green Lanterns to take one of them down.
Right.
Quite a few,
dope.
Actually. Yeah.
Right.
And Green Lanterns are powerful. They are some of the most powerful beings in the universe because of the rings.
That's dope, man. 60s. And so we're hearing rumors about Clayface in Batman 2.
Yes.
Man.
That's all I wanted. I wanted him to be in the movie. I wanted him to have a big role, and now we're getting rumors of such. I hope it's true.
Very cool. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. The news broke back in March, but late March, but that the horror maestro of the big and small screen, Mike Flanagan, has pitched to Warner Brothers Discovery a Clayface TV series by itself that is pretty cool, considering Flanagan is behind some of the best limited series horror of the last decade, including The Haunting of Hill House and Midnight Mass. Yet what is really shocking is what's buried on Deadline's report on that development. The trade heard from the sources that scripts are constantly changing and that Clayface is a big addition to Matt Reeves' The Batman 2. And this is a pretty intriguing development, and it should also be noted that Flanagan had pitched DC studio heads James Gunn and Peter Safran about doing a Clayface show for the DCU. So his angle would likely not be connected with that, the Reeves, what he would be doing for the Batman 2, which is not connected to the main superhero movie continuity with, crafted with WB and Gunn and all that. But supposing that the anonymous sources are correct, then the inclusion of Clayface into Reeves' sequel would signal definitely a major opening up of Reeves' take on Gotham City and its weirder sides. Clayface was originally one of Batman's first villains in the comics, created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane in Detective Comics number 40. The character of Basil Karlo was conceived as a riff on the then real-life Hollywood stars of horror like Boris Karloff and Basil Rathbone, with the fictional Carlo languishing as a B movie actor. And this is what I remember also from the Batman the Animated Series. He was like a B actor, and he discovers that one of his classics from a decade ago is being remade without him, and thus he assumes the persona of Clayface, a character he previously played, to become a serial killer and hunt down the new cast and crew. Really, just a pulp villain. There wasn't a lot to Clayface as originally conceived, but that changes in Detective Comics number 298, which is what, 250 issues later, when a new Clayface, aka Matt Hagen, was introduced in 1961. And he was a treasure hunter and an adventurer. And Hagen is even pulpier when he falls into a mysterious radioactive pool at the bottom of a cave, and sees his body transform into a malleable clay-like substance, a la Sandman, and that can be used to change into anything. And however, the arguably definitive version of the character did not become fully formed until the first season of Batman the Animated Series back in '92. That's when I really got to know of Clayface, really see him and really understand who this thing was. And it definitely combined both.
I was rolling Daggett. Yeah, I was rolling Daggett in the animated series.
Right. And it definitely combined both the previous incarnations and turned Hagen into a washed up movie star like the original one, and who had a glittering career at one point, and then he pursues experimental chemical therapy to repair his damaged face after a car accident. But then due to the machinations of the crime lord, he's forced to overdose on the chemical therapy, which turns him into a hideous clay-like monster. And I was so I kind of thought in the Halle Berry Catwoman movie, I thought this was gonna somehow give us some Clayface stuff, because I remembered that animated series with the makeup overdose and all of that, and so it was they were kind of touching on that. But he can transform into anything or anyone that he wants now, basically. And so, but it's definitely unclear which interpretation Reeves would favor, because there's one that definitely is more sci-fi-ish, and there's one that's more, I don't want to say realistic, but realistic. And Reeves' Batman is definitely riding the line between those two worlds, so could go either way. But technically, it'd be quite easy to slip the original, Finger Bob Kane version into the world that was created for the Batman, the Reeves Batman. It would fit better without them having to change much. But I know we hope that that's not the case, because we definitely, the previous the Nolan trilogy and all that already definitely explored the version of Gotham where everything had to be grounded in reality, or at least the illusion of plausibility. And while the Batman is definitely in some ways even grittier, but it does also, it doesn't mind focusing on world building and mythology and comic book type way of or featuring a climax where the villain is going to flood all of Gotham and things like that. But the Batman was our introduction to the dark and dreary world of Gotham, where a sequel could definitely peer down to see just how deep the rabbit hole goes. And I think a villain capable of transforming his body into grotesque clay, whatever the fuck, into the countenance of others would definitely be a I don't know, a striking departure for the new Dark Knight series. And I would like to see the show develop too, the horror show that they're talking about, because they're doing the Penguin show off the Reeves Batman. So why can't we do a Clayface show?
Yeah, but I think this show is not even connected with the Reeves universe. So
I know.
And I think, isn't this the one where Clayface isn't even a villain, or is that a different?
Well, yeah, that weird shit. I don't even want to see. But yeah, no, I don't know, man. And that's the thing. It could be because the Clayface movie originally, was not, or the show rather, sorry, was not the Reeves thing. But what I'm saying is, since if they do it with, they make a Matt Reeves movie, sequel, just like they're doing the Penguin spinoff from the first one, they could do the Clayface spinoff from the second one. And then your boy that pitched the horror Clayface show to Warner Brothers, they could give him the gig and let him do the Clayface spinoff, make it a horror type, because that would be great, bro. I would love to see a horror type Clayface movie. I don't know. What do you think about that, Sada?
I don't know,
like a scary Clayface movie.
I would love to see that within the Batman sequel. I don't know if we necessarily need a whole show, because like with the Penguin, right, the thing is, like, we got itty bitty pieces of him in the first movie. So right, to do a show on him, for me, makes sense. We get to explore him further. If Clayface is going to be the central villain, then I feel like we don't really need a show right now. But if it's in the same vein as Penguin, then yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a horror type thing with Clayface at all. Nah, I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah, makes sense. I agree. Stu Dog.
I think he had to go. He said he had to go.
Did he fall out? Yeah, he yeah. He had to get to work. Man, and that's crazy that the dark oh, never mind. Stu had to go to work. I just got a new job too. But yeah, that would be crazy. And also the Court of Owls in Pattinson's The Batman trilogy is less likely now.
I'm glad for that, actually.
yeah. And because the odds of the Court of Owls making an appearance are definitely getting lower, despite being a newer addition to the lore of Gotham City, and the Dark Knight's Rogues Gallery, which I like that idea, the powerful cabal of the elite, the Court of Owls, the secret society. I think it's a great idea, and they've got some cool characters and stuff. But Scott Snyder,
a good idea. They just never execute it well, and then it just becomes completely convoluted. Like every time I try to do it, it just no. It's all right. We don't. I don't know if we need that in film.
Yeah, it's a secret society. Made up of Gotham's elite. In the comics, in Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's Batman run in 2001 or 2011 is good. They executed it right and made sense. Yeah, and because they're influencing the city politically and financially, and the court has their Talon assassins, and they send them to eliminate whoever defies them. And likewise, the court has been in existence since the dawn of Gotham itself, right? So they managed to stay under Batman's radar for all the decades, and as their legend was largely believed to just be a nursery rhyme, just like a legend. And as such, it makes sense why a lot of people might want to see Batman face the court in the Batman Part 2. But yeah, outside of the comics, they've been featured in 2 live-action television series. They were in Fox's Gotham series and fell flat, and then which was before Bruce Wayne becomes Batman, and then they debuted in the show's 2nd season as the benefactors behind Hugo Strange and his experiments, and then again the CW's Gotham Knights now is using the Court of Owls.
Yeah, and then they were central Batman versus Robin, that animated flick. They were central there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the only 3 that I know of.
Yeah, they were the main antagonists in that, in the Batman versus Robin. And then, as well as having a more satirical depiction in the Harley Quinn adult cartoon series. And then there was, and also they were the main villains in the Gotham Knights video game, which starred Nightwing and Red Hood and Batgirl and Robin. As such, the Court of Owls has very much been integrated into the greater Batman mythos. It's definitely part of it for sure. It's been like wedged into every medium. But in terms of whether the Batman trilogy will ever use the Court of Owls as well, seems unlikely, you know. And there seems to be some caution from Warner Brothers and DC Studios to use characters so soon after they've been predominantly featured on the small screen. And thanks to their, you know, popularity, the Court of Owls have been featured in a lot of forms of media on a pretty consistent basis since 2011. I mean, that they've really, like, I guess everybody loved the idea and used it, but in a desire to offer something new and fresh, you know, for Matt Reeves, the Batman trilogy, you know, and the sequels and the spin-offs, like, you know, the Penguin show, and we'll probably go in other directions. And like Sada, like you said, man, all for the best.
Yeah. I just don't think Court of Owls makes sense right now because Batman is fresh. Right now he's 2 years in, and Court of Owls doesn't come until he's like way in his prime. It just wouldn't make any sense to even have them be the main antagonist. You want to hint at them, do an Easter egg.
Yeah, right.
Sure. But they don't need to be the central point. Nah, we're good on that.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Because, and yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Like maybe a little hint that they exist. You know, an owl somewhere, which I think they kind of did. So that's cool. Leave it at that. But yeah, there's perhaps maybe a little hope for the Batman 3 for those who want to see it as a means to completely throw Batman's crusade in jeopardy, so long as the Owl's presence in the other projects die down. They don't want to, like, it's Court of Owls is in everything, let's put it in this too, you know, like let's not saturate it. Let's do shit we've never done before, like Clayface, and, you know, or done well, Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is another classic rogue who would be very cool in the Matt Reeves, the Batman trilogy, especially with a more grounded take on the character, you know, like having the suit required to keep his body at the sub-zero temperature and everything, and the primary goal in the comics, you know, to find a cure for his dying wife, whom he's cryogenically frozen to prevent her disease from spreading. But Freeze is willing to do, you know, whatever it takes, right, to accomplish his goal, which makes him an equally dangerous and desperate, you know, foe for Pattinson's version of the character. So those are the two I want to see the most, is Clayface and Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing them across the next 2 movies or so.
Yeah. But that's the rumor right now, is Clayface for part 2.
I'm very open to that, for sure. I hope he's like the main antagonist. It just makes the most sense.
I mean, I know the ending sort of hinted at Joker, obviously.
Yeah, we don't need to see that for a little bit. At least for me.
I mean, really, yeah, you could just keep him in the background for a little while. Let's do the Clayface thing, and if you want to bring Joker out in part 3, whatever, you know. But there's several different ways that Clayface could fit into the Batman 2 storyline, as you know, the main villain, or as one of the foes that Batman encounters. You've got Matt Reeves. The franchise is very grounded, so, you know, it's introducing the monstrous version of Clayface's form would be an opportunity for the sequel to go bigger and feature some more fantastical elements, which I really hope they do, because I don't want it to be super, you know, Christopher Nolan, like we did that already. Like, give us some fantasy shit, some comic stuff. Basil Karlo's origin could be tied to the mass destruction that occurred through Riddler's plan, right? As perhaps like the flooding in Gotham, and, you know, in the ending sort of exposed him to the renew chemical, or whatever, the makeup, and this, or whatever it is, and this allows the sequel to build on the events from the first movie and have Batman 2's villain be tied to the past. And thanks to Clayface's, you know, shape-shifting powers, it'd be easy to imagine him fitting in perfectly with another detective story, you know, a detective mystery for the Batman to have to solve, and you know, definitely harken to the animated series, and you know, whether Reeves utilizes the character's, you know, more monstrous form or focuses more on him as a serial killer with a special mask like in the Golden Age comics. The idea of a villain who can constantly change his appearance definitely creates a unique challenge for Bruce Wayne, or any detective. And you know, he had a difficult enough time locating the Riddler, so tracking down someone who can, you know, constantly change the way they look would further test his skills as a detective, and might even bring a layer of paranoia to Bruce. That would be a cool dynamic that Clayface could pose, you know. Well, there's a lot of ways. Yeah. So, yeah, y'all guys, this is our oh yeah, okay, we've been on for an hour and a half, y'all. So guys, we're gonna wrap it up for tonight, but we'll be back Monday at 7 p.m. So every Monday, every Wednesday, and every Saturday, guys, 7 p.m. Slade, I'm sorry about the time change, man. It's just my new schedule. Can't do anything about it. But hey, we're still here for y'all. We're still gonna rock it out. So we'll see you guys Monday at 7. You guys have a great weekend, and peace.